So moving on, after that breathless action in the mixed, it's women's doubles. And it's Olympic champion Rahayu and her relatively new partner, Ramadhanti, against the Korean pair of Baek and Lee. And if you were watching our coverage in Mulheim last weekend, you'd have seen that Korean pair take down the German Open title. That's how it all fits into the draw. Johnny and Kalela of India await the winners in tomorrow's semi-final. So officials and players on their way out to our show court. We watched their match yesterday, Chris, Rahayu and Ramadhanti. They were pretty impressive for the most part.
Yeah, they looked really calm. They just moved the shuttle around so well. They're a very pretty badminton that they play, because they're so skillful and so gifted the way that they can create chances from nothing. And, you know, that's why, you know, one of them is the Olympic champion. You can't be the Olympic champion unless you're an incredible player. And it's amazing how they've come on in such a short space of time to become one of the very best pairs in the world already.
That one meeting at the Asia Mixed Team Championships last month, which Baek and Lee won in straight games.
Red, what would you like to say? Baek receive. Who will receive? Rahayu. Rahayu to receive? Yeah. Which side? On my left, thank you.
So let's give you a bit more information then about this quartet. Just waiting for the Indonesians to come out to knock up. They are the 8 seeds for this tournament. Rahayu and Ramadhanti. Baek and Lee are unseeded, but very, very dangerous in the draw. Rahayu, of course, who won the Olympic women's doubles gold medal at the Olympics with Gracia Polly, since retired. First unseeded pair ever to win gold in women's doubles at the Games. Her father actually used to make her run 10 kilometres to tournaments when she was a kid. He was a hard taskmaster, but it's paid off, I guess you could say. There's Ramadhanti, 22 years of age, only 2 years younger than Rahayu. Just think Rahayu's older than she is. They won a couple of events last year, very quickly settling into a new partnership. Singapore Open, the Malaysia Open, and the latter was a Super 750. So it's a really burgeoning and improving new partnership, those two. And their progress so far has been relatively straightforward, yet to lose a game. And on the other side of the net, the Korean pair of Baek Ha-na and Lee So-hee, ranked at 20. Baek started playing when she was 9. She's actually a World Junior champion with Lee Yu-rim back in 2017. She won various titles, mostly with Jun Kyung-yoon. And her partner now, Lee So-hee, who's 28, so 6 years her partner's senior. And that was a massive moment for them in Mulheim last Sunday when they won their first title as a pair. Beat Matsuyama and Shida in straight games too. They'd already lost in 2 finals this year in Malaysia and Thailand, so I guess you could say it had been coming. They had a bit of a battle, a very, very, very long battle against Matsuyama and Shida, coming through in an hour and a quarter in 3 games. Third game was fairly one-sided, but the first 2 were close. Lizzie James of England is in the chair for this one, and she'll be assisted by a Danish service judge, Jesper Larsen.
Ladies and gentlemen, on my right, Baek and Lee So-hee, Korea. And on my left, Rahayu and Siti Fari Silva Ramadhanti, Indonesia. Baek to serve to Rahayu. Love all. Play.
Well, after some of the long rallies we saw in that mixed doubles, we would imagine it could be in for more of the same here. Definitely slower in the hall today than it has been over the past 3 days. Reminder, we're here all the way through until Sunday, which is finals day. Well, if that's what we're going to be in for the next hour, hour and a half, be worth watching.
One love.
Well, it's going to be a test of patience as much as anything else, Chris. 3 points so far, 3 longish rallies. That's going to be the pattern, I fancy.
Yes, I mean, it's going to be a very highly competitive game. Although the rankings suggest something slightly different, with one pair, the Koreans being ranked 20 in the world and the Indonesians being ranked much higher, I'd say, because the Koreans have only played 6 tournaments, so they don't even have their best 10 on. But yeah, these are going to be incredibly long rallies, and it's going to be very hard to say. Great shot there. It's going to be hard to say who's going to, who's going to come through victorious.
That was a really classy backhand from Lee. It's one way to shorten the rallies, is play winners like that.
The Korean girls are definitely going to be full of confidence because they are 10 matches now unbeaten, which is quite an impressive run to have for a new partnership.
Also that confidence that's bred by winning, but also that first major title as a pair. Think back to the first sort of major title that you won. It must lift a massive load because you think you've kind of finally arrived.
Yeah, and last week at the German Open, it was a strong German Open for ladies doubles. They beat some incredible pairs on the way. So it wasn't that they got fortunate. They are a world-class pair, and you know that you can see this already from the start of the match. The level they're playing at, they're a very, very good pair.
Maybe a hint of frustration about that shot from Ramadhanti.
This is the thing with the Koreans, their discipline is so good. They are so consistent, so solid, so hard-working that they do bleed points from their opponents because, you know, as an opponent, you think you have to do something incredible to get through because their defense is like a brick wall.
Good defense this time from the Indonesians under relentless pressure here.
This is a great rally.
Oh, unlucky. It was one loose shot though that allowed the relatively straightforward kill.
And this shows for me though this match. You know, I said earlier in the week, for me, women's doubles is the most improved event over the last maybe 4 or 5 years, and you see the quality already in this match. It is phenomenal how much for me as a discipline it has improved in strength, but also depth. Koreans are moving the shuttle around so well that when the Indonesians are attacking, most of the time yes, they have the attack, but they're not in a great position. They're slightly off balance or the lift's very deep. And this is why we're starting to see just a few unforced errors creeping.
Well, I've got to say, I didn't expect such a lopsided scoreboard early on here. There's still plenty of time for Rahayu and Ramadhanti, but the Koreans have started very, very purposefully.
Incredible shot, and that's what it's having to take at the moment for the Indonesians to win the point. Where she steps in here, that's a brilliant shot. And this is the big thing, you've got to step in on the defence, but I mean, that's incredibly hard to do because you've got the shuttle coming at you at warp speed, being able to do that, but it's great placement as well.
Late call that. Bit of confusion amongst the two Koreans. How often do we see that straight down the middle. He's so effective.
Yeah, just the confusion there of whose shot it is. And I mean, it's almost pinpoint precision, as in it's millimetre between them, so they're just not sure.
Works in golf, works in badminton too, straight down the middle. Yeah, that was a lovely little shot from Lee. Saw the gap and found it unerringly. Well, they block like it's the most casual and easiest thing in the world, and then produce that.
Especially there as Lee, I think she picked one up. No idea how she got that back at one stage in that rally to save them. And then she ends up hitting the winner. I mean, these rallies are so long. And the discipline you need for these rallies, you can't take a risk at the wrong time. You can't be too passive as well, though. I mean, every rally's going on, it feels like, for almost eternity, because the level is so high.
Yeah, and that's why I think it must be so dispiriting for the Indonesian pair. Long rallies and they're losing the vast majority of them. Kind of get to a stage where, lovely deception there from Baek, where you wonder where your next point's coming from. They're 11-4 down at the mid-game break.
좋아하기 때문에 일단 이렇게 수비 끝까지 해주고 랠리 이렇게 가야 된다. 그리고 중간풀고 계속 올라가도 되고 이거 올라가도 되고 내가 부재다 싶으면 길게 보고 때려주고 세게 때릴 필요도 없어. 먼저 봐. 랠리 어차피 많이 할 수 없어. 안 끝났을 때 공격.
Great play from the Indonesians. Stop drop brilliant, and then the follow-up play. The thing is, if we try and think how many unforced errors the Koreans have made, I'm going to be honest, I'm struggling to find any. Whereas the Indonesians, I'd probably say it's 5 or 6. but it's the Koreans that have almost, they've created that themselves because they are so solid.
It's relentless, isn't it?
This is the thing, the power in the attack, the placement. I mean, this is why the Koreans are 10 games unbeaten, because they are playing to an incredibly high standard. And the way they've started this match, wow, I mean, they're definitely the in-form pair at the moment.
And if you're on the other side of the net from them, Chris, what should you try and do? How can you try and stop this dominance?
This is the really difficult thing, because for me, the Indonesians are the more skillful pair, but at the moment, because of the way the hall's playing a fraction slower, it's about the physical prowess of the Koreans and the solid defense. It's hard for the Indonesians to be able to actually hurt the Koreans. Great cut out there, though, and this is the thing, if they can get the net player involved to be able to cut it out and use their creativity and their skill, they have a chance. But most of the rallies, the Koreans haven't allowed the net player to get involved from the Indonesian partnership. They're just so consistent, so solid. Everything's like, it's like everything is an 8 to a 9 out of 10, but consistently throughout the match, and that's what we've seen so far. But it's so hard, because how can you better that? And this is at the moment what the Indonesians are struggling with, because any slightly loose shot, the Koreans are on it. Anything that's not to a very good standard from the Indonesians, the Koreans can just deal with it. At the moment, you can see it looks like the Indonesians are struggling with any answers. And I think back to when they played each other previously, it was 21-14, 21-9 to the Koreans. And the way it's going at the moment, it looks like it could be going in the same manner.
Please welcome our technical officials and players onto the 1-2 bench court. Action in the men's singles next. Give it up for the players. Both from China, Shi Yu-chi and Wong Hong-yang.
Well, nearly 2¼ minutes that rally. I'm wondering if they kind of changed tactics there, the Indonesians, and tried to stay patient, but it still didn't work.
I mean, this is incredible. A 2-minute rally. I think if I'd have tried that in my playing days, I would have had enough. I think my partner would have to do all of the work. The level this is the thing. The Korean girls, look, they're ready to play the next point. They're not even flustered. They're like, that's a short rally for us. And this is the thing. They have such incredible discipline, and they're so consistent that a long rally like that doesn't even faze them.
The irony there is when they try to force the issue, they don't actually win the point, but they should have done enough damage in this first game to secure it shortly, you would think, barring some kind of sensational Indonesian comeback. Anticipated, and you could see Ramadhanti there from her reaction. She knew she'd invited trouble.
Yeah, and I think it's almost the first time a net player's actually got involved in the match. I mean, she's taken it too low there, and Lee has made a move. I've got to say, the way Lee has started this match, she has looked absolutely flawless. I mean, she's played incredibly well. I know she is one of the best players in the world, but wow, she's made the Indonesians just look like a good pair, whereas the Indonesians are, you know, they're 5 in the world. They're incredible.
The thing with Lee, other than her phenomenal technique, she's so athletic. Seems to move around the court effortlessly and so quickly. A couple of strides, she's back line to net.
She's placing her attacks so well as well.
And in any sport where there's, in this case it's a shuttle, but usually whether it's a ball or whatever, with Lee, she always seems to have more time than most other players. It's something you see it in, I don't know, football or cricket. Just have a natural ability, so talented and technically so good. I mean, you add that to her speed, agility, athleticism. It's a very potent combination. 3 points away then from securing this opening game, although length of some of the rallies, that still might mean 5 or 6 minutes. Now that's better.
Well, that's really good from the Indonesians, but it was the net player that got involved to put the pressure on. Then it was the shorter lift, and then it was the net player getting involved, and then the short lift, and then it's the placed attack. And this is what the Indonesians have to try and do, but the Koreans haven't given them a chance because the Koreans have not engaged at all with the net area. But this is where, for me, I'd say the net player then from the Indonesian partnership has to move off a little bit because the Koreans are not blocking, they're not fading the shuttle in defence. The way the first game's going, I struggle to see how the Indonesians can find a solution to this problem at the moment, because the longer the rally goes on, the more comfortable the Koreans appear to look. And it's so hard for the Indonesians to win a quick point because the Koreans are so solid.
Well, I think I'd challenge this as well. I mean, you may as well. 19-9 up, it was close enough for it not to be a frivolous challenge. Rare outing for Hawkeye, and it was long by a fair distance.
Challenge unsuccessful. 1 challenge remaining. Service over. 10-19. Apriani. Should live. It's okay. Play. Service over. 20. Game point. 10.
So 10 chances here to secure the opening game.
That's the thing, as soon as the Indonesians can get the net player involved, they can be dangerous on the attack. But the thing the Koreans have done so well is exclude the net player full stop. But we saw in that rally, the net player gets involved and then the pressure builds, and then it's hard for the Koreans to be able to get the shuttle away.
Well, rather an anticlimactic ending to the game, but it's 21 points to 11. And deservedly, Baek and Lee have the advantage here, and much for the Indonesians to ponder during this 2-minute interval.
하나 이쪽으로 가더라도 나요. 이렇게 요거 하나만. 나 소심하시면 괜찮아. 가운데로 때리든지 간심하시면 하더라. 오른쪽 다시 있으면 손좀 때려. 이쪽 아니면 아예 세게 때려. 툭 때리는 거 요거 안 돼. 툭 때려 바로 맞는다. 요거만 주는 거. 근데 직선 오는 거는 main setengah-setengah aja ya kok?
Udah gitu, jadi nanti satu kan pasti larinya ke Fadia. Cuma satu hal, ya nggak usah berpikir negatif. Berpikir kamu gua tuh bagus, gua tuh masuk, gua siap. Itu terus. Ya, kan banyak banget error kan kamu kayak orang bingung. Yakin aja. Ya, begitu doang. Yakin. Perjuangan begini pun yakin aja. Cuma ya tuh, belakang udah pasti kamu terus diincar, diropin terus. Gak usah khawatir drop shot.
So can Rahayu and Ramadhanti find a way to get themselves back into this? Rahayu was not standing on ceremony there. Absolutely hammered that. A bit of anger in it, I think, as well as making sure that she secured the point, that it wasn't coming back. Not used to being on the wrong end of a one-sided scoreline. Happy on Rahayu after stellar career playing with Gracia Polly. note that down, Chris. 12:04, Lee makes mistake.
Yep. And I think it's just she was slightly unsighted. And you can see she's obviously frustrated at herself for making that one mistake. But it's the things, the Koreans, you know, they will make mistakes if the Indonesians can stick with them and if the Indonesians can keep making them move.
Yeah, it's all about pressurising the shot. They didn't do a great deal of that in the opening game. Rahayu and Ramadhanti, they made a much more promising start in the second game.
Even there on that serve, City, she did a good serve, but she made an active move, and the shuttle was going to go to where she made the move, so there was a bit of tension from Baek Hana in the return, and then I think, you know, that's why she made the mistake. Seeing even more as two, but we're seeing, you know, we didn't see any of in the first game, and this is just going to give the Indonesians the confidence that they need, because after the first game I think they would have been feeling a little bit flat because it was quite one-sided, but now totally different start to the second game. I do think the end that the Koreans are down now, attacking down this end, it definitely doesn't have quite the same zip, because you're attacking slightly against the wind, the drift, so it's not quite as much penetration, whereas the first set we saw them getting through slightly more comfortably, whereas now they're having to work a lot harder, and I think this is why the Indonesians in the first game struggled down the other end.
Just fractionally long.
3, 4.
This is kind of the challenge you have at both ends. So the end the Indonesians are at now, it's much harder to lift, because when you're lifting, fraction too hard, it's going to go out. But then for the Koreans, it's hard to attack the end they're at, because they're attacking against the wind or the drift.
Excellent net play from Ramadhanti.
Service over. 5, 3.
Didn't really have the chance to play many of those kind of shots in the first game. Just weren't in that position. Well, we had a 2¼ minute rally in the first game. That wasn't that much less, and
4.
It went the same way in the end. Just always fancied the Koreans to outlast the Indonesians when a rally goes on for that length of time. She meant that.
It's such a big difference these ends are making, because now the Indonesians have so much more like oomph in their attack, as it were, and you can see they're getting through and they're flustering the Koreans, which we didn't see any of in the first game. The Koreans look so comfortable, so relaxed in defence. And this, we've only had, you know, the very early stage of the second game, and already we've seen quite a few rallies where the Indonesians have got through the what seemed like the rock-solid defence of the Koreans.
I think they almost collided at one point there, Lee and Baek. Still on the point.
This is definitely going to turn into such a physical battle, this second game.
Well, it's amazing, isn't it? First game, total dominance from the Koreans. Second game, momentum has shifted completely.
And this is the big thing. As soon as the momentum changes, the confidence in the Indonesians, the belief, it's appeared. And now the Koreans are starting to doubt themselves slightly, and they're making, you know, first game flawless, absolutely flawless from the Koreans. In this game already we've seen, I think, 3 or 4 mistakes that we didn't see at all in the first game. This is what the momentum shift does.
Well, it was an excellent serve, which effectively gave them the initiative in the rally.
I would say now that the Koreans maybe have gone a little bit too... I think basics are a tough way of explaining it, but it's just a bit too simple. I feel now the Indonesians have got more comfortable and they're getting the rhythm of the Koreans, and they're starting to predict what the Koreans are going to do.
Missed that one though.
Service over. 6-9.
See the doubt. She's not sure if it's in or out. Bakana, and she's questioning, is it in, is it out? There was no doubt. There was no question of anything in the first game. It was just pure confidence.
Yeah, the drift is moving it from right to left as you look on your screen. That's the problem, but one of those shots was starting outside the tram lines, but moving, so they would have been in, so they had to play it.
Brilliant. That is just brilliant, and that shows, you know, the skill level needed to do that. And she gets up so well to it. I'd love to see a replay of that, the way she gets up. This is the perfect way if anyone wants to learn how to play a stop drop. This is it.
And if you suggested that the Indonesians would enjoy a 4-point lead at the mid-game interval in the second game after what we saw in the first, might have been questioned, but they thoroughly deserve their advantage. They need to consolidate, make sure they take this second game and send this to a decider. Well, they really are thinking about it, that's for sure.
1, 20 seconds. 1, 20 seconds. Players return to court. Players, Apriana City. Apriana City on court.
Love to have done a fly on the wall. The Korean side of the net during that interval, just to listen to what the French was saying to them. It's going to go wide.
These only challenges called
Don't think
out.
she's going to have any joy here. I think every decision so far that's been challenged, the original verdict has proved to be correct today, and that's still the way.
Yeah, we've got some very sharp line judges out there today.
Service over. 12-8. Play.
eyes there when it's just a bit, everything's a bit too simple from the Koreans at the moment. Like getting the net here, that's just obvious. And then they get, for me, she could have poked it, she could have turned it, she could have played a shot that's slightly less obvious because it allows the Indonesians to then put pressure on. Truly is amazing how the game has shifted. I do appreciate different ends, and the hall is playing differently on both ends, but just look at the body language. If you look at everything, it's like they had a full slot. We didn't see any simple errors like this from the Koreans in the first, and now, you know, we've seen quite a few of them, and the Indonesians, sorry, looking so confident now. The smiles, they look like they really believe.
Mentioned that this tournament started way back in 1899. Intriguingly, that first year, they only played doubles. There was no singles. They introduced that the following year. Challenges on the other court. You can hear the drum beat. That was obviously out.
Let Lee wait until she's ready.
Yeah, it's nicely worked.
Yeah. Incredible there to get, first of all, get the third shot back with that quality, and then Lee really sharp at the net after that.
Let Lee.
Lee serving, you know, she really wants to serve so quick. The Indonesians are making her wait every single time. I think they're assuming she doesn't feel comfortable to serve. Indecision there from the Koreans. I would also say the Koreans' attack, there's no real angle on it. It's too flat, so it's quite easy for the Indonesians to just push it back quite flat or even counter them. And there you can see they didn't know whose it was. That's just what happens when you get tense, when you get nervous. You hesitate, and you can't hesitate.
Picked off and very effectively.
16-12.
And a few alarm bells ringing in the Korean camp now.
Yeah, there's a loose return, but wow, from City there, so sharp on that third shot. And again there.
And it's exactly as you say, you know, once you start being pressurized, then the errors start appearing. We didn't see that in the first game.
And the big thing is making a move. Now, full credit to City there. She's cut the rally before brilliantly, and that one, she made the move. When you're hitting a shuttle where there already is a player, you're more stressed. And your shot generally isn't as good because you're not as calm or relaxed. And this is what the Indonesians have done very well. They're making moves.
Well, challenged. That was moving in the air a little bit, that shuttle. It certainly started out wide of the line, but they both almost simultaneously put their hands in the air there, the Indonesians, to invoke a Hawkeye.
I think this is hard for the line judge to see, but the line judge again, I don't know how they would have seen. They would have to see through. I think Lee was in the way.
Challenge unsuccessful.
But I got to say, full credit to these line judges. They are on it today.
Yeah, they've been devouring the carrots, obviously, in the last few days, because that was an excellent call. And they're still in there fighting just about the Koreans in this second game. Phenomenal play. The net call was pivotal in the end, but they were just getting the upper hand in that rally anyway, the Koreans.
Yeah, and then this, if we're going to get to see this unbelievable net shot, look at that. Back on, and then a very casual kill, and then almost a little jog off to sort of rub it in.
Yeah. Yeah, problem is, there's still 3 points down in the second game. But sowing maybe a couple of seeds of doubt in Indonesian minds. What a time to do that. Served from too high, can't serve from above 1.15 meters. Service judge looks through those perspex blocks there, you can see.
I would say that call was quite late as well, but maybe it just took him a fraction longer to call it.
Yes, Milas and the service judge, and now it's big odds on a deciding game here.
Just too many unforced errors from the Koreans in this game. Went from pretty much zero in the first, but it's the same for the Indonesians. It must be the end. Everyone's finding the end the Koreans are currently at, the difficult end.
It's a different game now, isn't it, to the one we were watching about 15-20 minutes ago. 6 game points for Rahayu and Ramadhanti to level the match.
The big question is, we obviously said last week the Koreans won, which is an incredible performance, but every match was a monster. Some of the matches they played, how much is that taken out of them from last week? How fresh are they going to be for the third game? And that's going to be the interesting thing.
A decider it is. So 21 points to 14. And a great fight back that from the Indonesians after losing the opener. I think they're challenging it. I'm not sure this is going to meet with any serious success, but I guess nothing to lose. Korean challenge was called in. Oh, well, we're going to have to come back out.
Challenge unsuccessful. Game.
No, I beg your pardon, it was called out, of course it was. So it is 1 game all. And now you think the psychological edge is with those two, probably.
Ramadhanti 21-14.
Of course, they'll change
One game
ends halfway through the deciding game, so in theory, there shouldn't be any advantage. You always obviously want to play the most advantageous end in the second half of the game if you can. I wonder whether what he said during that last 2-minute interval, how influential was that on the way that Rahayu and Ramadhanti came out after that interval, because they looked a different pair. I wonder what's going through their minds.
하나 붙이잖아. 100% 놔주고 그거를 어차피 빠질 시간 앞에 아무도 없단 말이야. 떠들니까 넘어가면 되는데 아니면 그냥 올라가지. 집중 하나씩. 해보자. 좀 때리긴 때려야 돼.
Court 1, 20 seconds. Court 1, 20 seconds. Final game. Love ball. Play.
Got the bit between their teeth, these two.
One, love.
Well, she was in two minds whether to play that or not.
It's over. 1-all.
Do you think this maybe was sneaking out?
Yeah, I think it was.
It's so hard to tell. Simple rule is if you're not sure, just hit it.
Play.
You got to hit it earlier, yeah. Good shot from Bakana in regard to she just poked it, she just pushed it. So it wasn't enough speed to really hurt them, but the shot was dipping. So when the Indonesians are striking it below tape, they would have had to hit that upwards.
So the Indonesians are going to have the advantage of end after the mid-game interval. So if they could restrict any potential Korean lead to, I don't know, maybe a couple of points, they would probably be well pleased and think they're right in it. But already, you see the difference that end makes.
And the big thing is the Indonesian girls don't want to lift it because this is what they struggled with in the first game when they were lifting. The Koreans' attack was just too powerful. We've already seen the Koreans have noted that, so they're chasing forward whenever they can to try and get the lift. In that situation there. And that's the thing, and it's so tough for the Indonesians this end because they know they can't just try and move the shuttle around. They can't just lift. They have to try and be proactive, but it's tough. This is why in the first game they did struggle. And that's brilliant there from Lee. Nice and controlled brush. She hasn't tried to kill it. She's just taken it early and brushed it down.
Once again, she wants to serve at breakneck speed, doesn't she?
And this is why for the Indonesian it's so tough, this side, because they can't be passive, so they can't move the shuttle around, which the other end you can be a little bit more, because the attack, the Koreans have the wind with them, so they're hitting it so hard. And this is why both pairs have struggled down the end that the Indonesians are currently at.
Well, that's one way to win a point. Angle it towards your opponent when she's down and out, so to speak.
But from City there, exactly the right shot. If she'd have pushed that, it would have been the wrong shot. She just stepped in, played it calmly, played it early, and played the controlled shot in a massive gap. Every point at the beginning of this third game is going to be so vital, because when they change ends, this is where it's all going to even itself out, because both pairs have struggled down the end that the Indonesians are currently at.
hard did they have to work to win that point?
Yeah, brilliant rally, brilliant rally. Just see how animated the Korean coach is behind the court. She's almost playing the rally with them. think now the Indonesian girls need to just stick with the Koreans as much as they can before this interval, before the break, before they change ends, and they get themselves on the better end.
Rahayu challenges called in. Challenge unsuccessful. One challenge remaining.
So one challenge burned by the Indonesians.
Service over. 4-9.
I think the umpire's got that wrong there because it was called in. So I think she's just misunderstood what's happened. And then obviously the Indonesians have ended up with the point.
I'm surprised that the Koreans haven't queried that.
No, but I think maybe they put up the wording wrong because it was called in. The Indonesians asked for Hawkeye. It was then decided it was out, but I think they just put up the wrong wording. But the umpires, we've got the right score, which is the integral part.
Well, that's the main thing.
Just the only thing is, they did state that the Indonesians only have one challenge remaining, whereas that's slightly incorrect.
Change ends.
So we're going to have the mid-game interval, and then they will change ends, and the advantage very firmly with the Koreans at the moment.
분명히 쟤네가 내가 수비가 지금 잘 되기 때문에 위로 분명히 드라이브를 전공이 올 거야. 요것만 드라이브 중에 이제 빠져있단 말이지. 요것만 길게 붙여주고 올라오면 이제 공격 들어가. 요것만 해주면 요것만. 전공이 분명히 온다, 전공이. 그리고 진짜 잘 봤어, 잘
Court
봤는데.
1, 20 seconds. Court 1, 20 seconds.
Kalau kamu didorong, kamu agak kencengin dikit aja, jangan pressing pelan.
Thank you, coaches. Players return to court. Play.
a shot to end that rally with. So cool and calm.
Service over. 5.
94 shots that rally. And to finish it in that way. That is an incredibly difficult shot to play, and especially that tight.
Just came out of nowhere too, didn't it? A nonchalant reaction to a wonderful shot. So I wonder if that'll spark an Indonesian comeback here. Got the advantage of end now. And that's an easy kill for Lee.
That's well read there from Lee, well stepped in. And this is where, for me, the Indonesians, it's going to be hard work. But every point is going to be so vital because although, yes, they had the deficit, they now have the good end.
They'll take points anywhere they can get them, even via a cruel net cord like that.
And that's such a tough way for the Indonesians to lose that point because, I mean, all 4 players worked incredibly hard, and for it to end in that manner can be incredibly frustrating. Just maybe not quite happening for the Indonesians. 2 net cords both going against them, and that looked like it wanted to go over and then it didn't fancy it.
Thought about it, didn't it?
The Indonesians, they need to keep believing because, yes, they're 14-5 down, but they've had 2, let's say, slightly unlucky points, and they're down the good end. They have to keep the belief.
Some intent in that shot.
Service over. 6-14.
This is the thing for the Indonesians. If they focus too much on the score, then it's frustration or nervousness can set in, whereas they're doing the right things. It's just they've had a bit of unfortunate luck. They don't need to change anything. What they're doing is the right style. It's just they've got to believe that they can come back.
Service over. 7-15.
brilliant defense there, City. What a rally.
Oh, that might have been out, you know, but they're still playing. Well, the second 2-minute-plus rally of the match. The Indonesians standing firm. Patience, stamina, and a whole heap of concentration required.
8-15.
Looked like Lee there. Fatigue definitely hit her. She got quite stationary. That was an incredible rally.
Players return to court. Yes.
This is it now. Now the Indonesians have the better end. They can get through. And each point they're crawling the score back. It's getting closer and closer. And after that really, really long rally we've had two much shorter rallies. Oh, we're in a challenge.
So this time it's the Koreans challenging. It was called out. I think there's too much of an issue with the call, but we'll see. Walkine's going to check it. Well, very optimistic, or need a visit to the optician tomorrow morning, one of the two. Well, looks like we've got a doctor coming out here.
And this could well be from last week. They played for over 300 minutes last week, which was incredible. They had a match last week that was 1 hour and 51 minutes. So all that is going to be, you know, inside their system. Yeah, we're a few days on from that, but this is such a long match in itself, and we've had some monster rallies.
Yeah, so Baek getting a bit of the magic spray. thing is, the more running you do, the more that lactic acid builds up in the legs. You look at the scoreboard, and she knows they only need 6 more points, but the momentum of the match, last few points, has been going with the Indonesians, and 6 points can look like a long way away.
Both Korean girls then received some very quick treatment. So yeah, how much is the fatigue from last week sitting in their system and affecting them? These next 2-3 points, they're pivotal.
Short lift there from Lee. Was that nerves? Was it a miss hit? Well, that lift was almost half court.
Weariness, I think, as much as anything, Chris. And that definitely comes into play. We've been on court for, just checking the latest timing, 1 hour and 22 minutes. They were 7 points down at the interval. They've reduced that margin to 3 now. And they look the stronger pair, mentally and physically.
And this is the thing, it's such a momentum shift. And as I said, when they swap ends, you could see it was inevitable. Now the Koreans were just, it's like they're hoping for some cheap points, but they're not going to happen. They've still got to take the game to the Indonesians. And for me, it's not really happening. They're too passive. A lot of their lifts were so short as well.
Yeah, I think they're almost hoping or trying to crawl over the line rather than charge over it, although that is a massive bonus from the Korean point of view.
12.
So it looks like we've got the medical team coming back on here. But this time it's for the Indonesians. And this shows how physical this game is for both pairs.
It's great.
Clever shot from Lee, that angle, and her opponent just didn't have time to adjust, really. I don't think there was much that Ramadhanti could do.
Yeah, this is a great shot from Lee. Such a downward trajectory, and she's pushed it with enough pace, but not too hard. She just poked it out, and it's a brilliant shot. This now is such a battle of the mental side of the game. The Indonesians have to keep believing, and there's so much fatigue in all 4 of these ladies. of a gift, and it felt like just as the Indonesians were coming back before, it felt like the momentum now has swapped again. We've had some cheap mistakes on the Indonesians, and you can see the Koreans now. Now they're believing, they're starting to grow.
Well, giving up is not in Apriyani Rahayu's vocabulary. So you can be assured that Indonesians are going to fight right to the end. One point at a time for Baek and Lee. They're 2 points away now.
I feel there was a chance to City at the net. She kind of caught hold of a few of them, but in the end she wasn't quite clinical enough, and the Koreans managed to escape and then ended up winning the point. Rallies are absolutely incredible. 92 shots, and it's not the first one, and it's not even the longest rally.
Nowhere near. They are so punishing physically.
Service over, 14-19.
We're an hour and a half here. I think that caption there sums it up so far. It's been a real physical battle.
After an hour and a half, here are 6 match points for Baek and Lee So-hee.
20.
incredible judgment there from Lee, because as you get more tired and more fatigued, your movement isn't quite the same. You know, you're a little bit more laboured, so it's much harder to judge it because you can't quite get the feeling of where you are on court, and she judged that to perfection.
They are there, 21-14 in the decider. A monumental battle for very, very tired women at the end of it. But we've seen again some terrific stuff. Long rallies, really creative play. A match that swung one way and then the other. And smiles all round at the end of it. Hope they've got enough time to recover, Chris, before tomorrow's semi-final.
Yeah, it's key now. I mean, you can see she's hobbling. I mean, that was such a physical battle. The Koreans now, they need to make sure they recharge, do everything to perfection to make sure they've got enough energy to come back for tomorrow. So that is not the end for them.
Physically exhausting hour and a half of high-octane badminton, and this is how it ended. What a titanic struggle then, and it goes the way of Baek and Lee. 21-11, 14-21, 21-14. As I say, an hour and a half on court. So while we wait for the autograph signing to finish, we'll take a short break and we'll be back with some men's doubles. Liang and Wang, who you may have seen with us yesterday, of China, up against Fernando and Martin of Indonesia. That's next. Welcome back to Birmingham and our continuing coverage of the All England Championships. 2 games in, and we're changing our focus now to the men's doubles event and a match between Liang Wei Keng and Wang Chang and Leo Fernando and Daniel Martin. And there's the draw. You can see 4 seeds still standing, including Alfian and Ardianto.